Coming up on today's episode of DLLS Mavs, it's time to preview the full season for your Dallas Mavericks, plus the Eastern and Western Conference as we are underway for the NBA season. All that and more on today's episode of DLLS Mavs. Here we go.
I have many more issues with Damaris than Tim Cato.
Okay.
And we sat next to each other. And we sat
Fair
next
enough.
to each other for a whole hour.
That's right.
Oh, we didn't have sound during that?
Oh, we didn't have sound for any of that.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
we're back. Here we are. Kevin Gray, Bobby Carella, our National Mavericks NBA insider, Mark Stein, and our guy Tim Cato will be joining us here momentarily. Hopefully you can hear us now. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear us. Okay.
We're good. We're good.
I think we're good now. We're good now. So that's a great start to our show today.
That was actually, we had some lively banter that
I know,
everybody
that was
I
great.
know.
I know.
I was saying, can we recreate that? But I don't think we can.
No,
You don't like Tim Cato, but you like Brian Damaris less. That's the...
that was the
Well,
takeaway from the, yes.
The most important thing is that Cato is never in studio. I just don't understand. I'm always here. He's never here.
Well, guess what? We'll figure out a way for that to happen. If it can happen like it did on Friday with you two and Damaris, then maybe it can happen more during the regular season. We got a lot to get to on today's episode. The NBA season is underway. 2 games last night, a full slate of action tonight. Of course, your Dallas Mavericks make their 2024-25 season debut tomorrow night when they take on the San Antonio Spurs. We will get into all of that and around the association a little bit later on. Plus, we'll preview the East and the West this upcoming year, our predictions on where the top 6 teams in the East and the West will finish this regular season. But we got to preview our Dallas Mavericks. It is now finally time. Opening night is tomorrow night when the Mavericks host Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. The Mavericks coming off an NBA Finals appearance last year for the first time since 2011. Luka Doncic having a historic offensive season. And, of course, this team fell short in 5 games to the Boston Celtics. But all that is now put away as we now get ready for this upcoming season. And, gentlemen, Luka Doncic spoke yesterday at media availability, and he has declared himself ready to go for the season opener against the Spurs. Take a listen and watch.
How you feel? Ready for Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, just finished practice. My bad. Yep.
No, you're good.
No, I think we're practicing great. I'm just happy to be playing back again. We're playing intensively, so I think we're ready.
The way that Jason talked about it, it sounded like if you really needed to go for the postseason situation, you probably would have been ready for Thursday. But just a precautionary thing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an easy injury. It doesn't hurt a lot, but just you got to get healed a lot. Maybe I even started too early, but it's fine now. It's perfect. I'm practicing everything, so I'm good.
So Luka Doncic saying that he is ready to go for the season opener. Of course, having dealt with the left calf contusion, has been practicing, obviously, over the last several days, saying the word perfect when it comes to his injury status and that he's ready to go. Gentlemen, your reaction to hearing Luka Doncic basically declare that he is ready to play for the opener against San Antonio?
Yeah, maybe it took a little longer than expected. I can relate to that. I still have remnants of a cough drop in my mouth right now. I wasn't totally finished by the time we started the show, but neither was the audio. So we're all trying to get ready. We're all out here doing our best.
Yes.
Luka is too. The Mavs training staff is too. But yeah, I mean, Mark, you kind of were on it the whole time. You're like, he's going to be ready for opening night, but maybe it was just, maybe it was a little more serious than we initially thought.
Do you want me to say things that are going to whip you into a way out of control frenzy?
Please,
ruffle my feathers.
Please,
No, but it's
ruffle
like
all of them.
No, it's not like it's not going to ruffle your feathers. It's going to get you. It's going to like. I know you're already psyched beyond words for tomorrow
well,
night.
turn me up, man. Let's go.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I think one element of this is again, he had far less practice time last year before playing on opening night in San Antonio. But I will say this, and this is. I know this is going to raise expectations for tomorrow even more, but it has been conveyed to me from multiple witnesses. We don't get to see anything of practice. We get to see free throws if we're lucky. But in recent days, I'm told since Luka has been back on the floor, the ball is just finding every open shooter. It's only practice, but I'm told Klay is just living off the passes he's getting from Luka already.
Let's go.
So it's like,
let's go.
I think, yeah.
You're right. Cool him off.
Again, it's practice. It's just practice. But
talking about practice,
we underestimate the degree to which everything snaps into place offensively at a different level when 77 is on the floor. And just when I relayed that story to someone with another team, this is someone who has nothing to do with the Dallas Mavericks, does not like the Dallas Mavericks. Their reaction to me was, I don't know if there's a better player in the league in terms of landing the ball in his teammates' shooting pocket the way that 77 can. So, Klay Thompson's preseason didn't wow people, but he played 0 minutes and 0 seconds alongside Luka Doncic. And I just think, yes, there are going to be questions about how they cope defensively when we see the Luka, Kyrie, Thompson units on the floor together. How are they going to defend with those three? But there's no way Klay is not just going to thrive playing with this guy. Like, he's going to get delicious looks.
We're talking about the best three-point shot creator in the history of the sport.
Yes.
I mean, nobody is better than Luka. Last year, Luka's average pass traveled farther than any other player's average pass in the league. So he was regularly making. His average pass last season was almost 25 feet long, which is basically from the rim out to the three-point line, or from one side of the court halfway across the court. Like, he will find you wherever you are. The Mavs routinely lead the league in corner three attempts. Luka routinely leads the league in 3-point assists. And this is spending a majority of his career playing with one, or in many cases, multiple starters that shoot below average from three. Kyrie last year, 40% three-point shooter. Klay last year, the worst season of his career at 39% from three. Derek Lively, we all know, is going to shoot 60 or 70% from three. PJ Washington, hopefully will shoot more like the playoff PJ and less like the regular season PJ. I mean, Luka will have no shortage of options.
And I think Damaris had that stat on his impressive papers that he brought to the lounge. But, I mean, didn't Klay in a supposed down year have more than 200 catch-and-shoot threes last season?
That's right.
Which, nobody on the Mavericks came close to that in terms of not because the passes weren't good. It was a conversion issue.
Yeah.
So I don't buy this notion that Klay can only play in a movement-based offense. I think he's going to make some catch-and-shoot threes.
He'll be moving into open shots.
Yes. And finding a lot of open shots from Luka Doncic. And we talk about how this team is going to be potentially one of the best offenses that we've seen in the history of the sport. I mean, you've got 2 of the 5 guys on the same team now that made the most three-pointers a season ago, and Luka Doncic and Klay Thompson. Now you've got Kyrie Irving coming off a 25-5-5 year, just percentage points away from a 50-40-90 year. Offensively, there should be no questions about what this team will do night in and night out. The question will be, can they sustain the defensive intensity and level that they had really in the last 18 games? Because over the last 20 games, they went 16-4. They punted on the last couple of games, but in their most meaningful games, they went 16-2, had the best defense in the league. Obviously, that coincided with the acquisitions of PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. I think for a lot of Mavericks fans, the questions aren't necessarily on the offensive end, but how they are able to keep up potentially that same level of intensity on the defensive end. what are your guys' thoughts on what they can bring defensively this year, even with a second-year jump potentially of Derek Lively the second as well?
You go, because I was distracted by something in the chat. I'm going to derail this segment momentarily.
Charlie Saturdays.
My guy. I love,
Charlie in the chat.
I love my guy Charlie Saturday. There's a fun backstory there, but you answer Kevin's question, and then I will speak to Charlie Saturday.
I would say it is a lot easier to play defense whenever the shot that you've just taken has gone in. The Mavs, for the entirety of the Luka era, and this is not unique to Dallas, this is every team. Every team's points per possession allowed is better or lower following a made shot than a missed shot, and obviously following a made shot rather than a turnover. The Mavs difference over the last few years has been stark. We're talking about top 5, top 10 caliber defense following a make or a stoppage of play, and a bottom 5, bottom 10 caliber defense following a miss or a turnover. This year's team is ostensibly going to be making more shots. This year's team is also featuring a guy in Luka who I think is in significantly, at least visually, significantly better shape than he was last year, the year before. And with both Luka and Kyrie on the floor, these are guys that don't turn the ball over very often. And so there shouldn't be a lot of transition issues, at least hopefully. That's where like ball security with PJ and Lively and Najee Marshall comes into play so much. Quentin Grimes, if he's going to be a playmaker. If the Mavs can protect the ball, they're going to score 150 points a game or just something like we cannot comprehend the level of offense we're going to see. So it's a lot easier to play defense following a make, and it's also a lot easier to play defense whenever your stars are bought in. And Kevin, that was a big reason why that turnaround happened.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just because PJ Washington saved the season. Like it was because Luka and Kyrie bought in. And if Klay buys in, and if they're all scoring, if everyone is happy, if everyone's feeling good, if the vibes are high, then they're going to try. If the vibes are high, they're going to try.
Oh, I like that. You should put it on a T-shirt. I like that.
Maybe we will.
Yeah, there you go.
By we, I mean somebody else other than me.
Not you, but you gave the slogan. Somebody else will put it on the shirt.
This is the question about this team.
Yes.
Is that they came away from the finals believing they didn't have enough three-point shooting to hang with Boston, didn't have enough ball handling to counter what Boston was doing. The priority in the offseason was addressing that, obviously, with Klay being the number one. Klay rose above Derek Jones Jr. to become, getting Klay Thompson became the priority over re-signing Derek Jones Jr. They felt good about being able to sign Najee Marshall at a price point that they were more comfortable with to replace Derek Jones Jr. But yeah, PJ Washington, Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall, these guys have to find a way to have an impact defensively because so much of the emphasis has been on making this team, even though, like you said, Luka is a walking top 5, top 3 offense just by virtue of being on the floor, but the focus was on adding shooting. But the guys who do have defensive capability, they're expecting a lot from these players because there are only a few, and you could also factor in the year 2 jump that they expect Lively to make. So, I think when people raise questions about this edition of the Dallas Mavericks, it is how much will they have lost defensively from last season's team?
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. I'm a little concerned. I'm a little worried about the defense. But I'm not that worried. I'm just a little worried.
Just a little concerned.
I'm just a little worried. And it won't take us long to find out.
We're going to find out very quickly.
Their first 10 games are not easy.
Yeah. And fortunately, 7 of those first 9 games are at the American Airlines Center. So hopefully being able to get off to a good start. Much like our guy, Charlie Saturday, who apparently has gotten off to a good start, needling you on this show so far.
We start this next. Go ahead now. Yeah. No, let's start the next segment with it. I want to give.
No, I don't want to do this read yet. So you go ahead and do that. Yeah. Go ahead.
By you.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. This
Tanner, let's put up this comment from my dear friend Charlie Saturday. Yes, because I've upset Charlie. And first of all, I love Charlie Saturday. Again,
shout out to Charlie.
Charlie Saturday is a Bucks fan. He is a Wisconsinite who is in the chat multiple times a week supporting this show. He is not a Mavs fan, so
he don't want to hear what Bobby got to say about his Bucks later on. That's for sure.
Tremendous shout out to him. So Charlie is dismayed with me because in my power rankings, I dropped my preseason power rankings. So for every team, the comment section is generally a snapshot of their season. And so I had a line in there about how, rival teams again, and we've seen this happen multiple times in recent years, rival teams again, they're already starting is Giannis going to force his way out of there? Can we steal Giannis from the Bucks? Charlie is upset.
Yes.
Charlie is upset at me because he feels like my comment is destabilizing the Bucks on the eve of the season. I don't think the Bucks are passing my power rankings around the locker room. I don't
Bulletin board material.
I don't think
Mark
what I
Stein's
wrote
power
is going to have a
rankings.
hugely just destabilizing effect. But no, the previous comment. So basically, Charlie has fired back with where was that comment? Yes. Hearing Mavs rivals are monitoring Luka's happiness in Dallas. Will be interesting to see how that affects the upcoming season. That is a Charlie Saturday blast at me. He was also dismayed that Thursday night when I did, I joined you guys from the AAC. The Bucks were super fast post game. Only Doc Rivers used the press conference room. No players did post game interviews. So I was like, this is awesome. I'm just gonna set up right in here, and then I can join you guys while also monitoring, kind of keeping my eye on what's happening in the hallway. So basically, it was such a non-event post game because none of the Bucks regulars played that I made the comment that the most interesting, most notable thing that happened was Giannis asking for, how do I get to the Mavs locker room to go see Jason Kidd? I thought that was just a heartwarming reunion of former player and former coach. And Charlie Saturday also believes that I was trying to whip up a Giannis to Dallas storyline.
Someone dissension in the ranks in Milwaukee is what you're doing.
How the Mavs are going to have the cap space to steal Giannis away. I don't exactly know.
Well,
but
I have it all laid out.
That's a work for you. That's for you,
thoughts.
Bobby. That's for you.
Can I say something though that might make Charlie feel a little better about the Bucks? At the start of last season, there were a lot of people that were maybe not publicly had some questions about Luka's happiness in Dallas at the start of last season, and the Mavs went to the finals. So maybe that means, Mark, the Bucks are going all the way.
Oh no, don't do that, Bobby. Not the way you was talking trash, cash money about the Bucks pre-show.
All of this is to say, and I wanted to feature his comment there because I want that's his jab back me. But all of this is to say, it is all love. Charlie Saturday, incredibly loyal reader of my Substack, incredibly frequent commenter in my Substack chat on my stories. And again, the support, how often he is tuned into this show as a Bucks fan is quite impressive. And last thing I'm going to say, Charlie, and I hope you agree with me on this, I am baffled and dismayed by the release of Pasicnic after he absolutely
he was so good in that game.
He was the poster victim on your guys' thrunk.
But he was good.
He was fantastic at the other end, giving the Mavs all kinds of problems. So dare I say we have set a DLLS record for Bucks talk on this show.
One last question. What's Giannis' son's name?
I don't know.
What is his son's name?
I know Arthur is Joel
It's
Embiid's
not
son.
Luka,
Maybe just go.
It's Maverick. It is.
All right.
It is.
Coming up next here on DLLS
Was that
Mavs.
And is Kid?
We
Kid's not the
preview
Godfather,
the
is he?
Eastern Conference. Don't worry about what
I don't know.
We're going to preview the Eastern Conference coming up next year on the DLLS
That was a
Mavs
long segment.
podcast. But first, let me talk to you about Z-Biotics. I got to tell you about this game-changing product I used before a night out with drinks. It's called pre-alcohol. What is it? Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time I have pre-alcohol before drinks, I feel better the next morning. Don't have necessarily any kind of grogginess or anything like that. I'm able to feel good and go out and do all the activities that I need to the very next day. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wonder what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I definitely believe the hype. And with their GMO technology, they'll release different products that help address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. So go to zbiotics.com, insert code DLLS Mavs to learn more and get 15% off your first order. And when you use code DLLS Mavs at checkout, Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Check out Z-Biotics today.
Hey, it's me. Do I look hot? If the answer is yes, it must be because of the sunglasses that I'm wearing that are from our friends at Shady Rays. More than 300,000 hotties like me have already rated these bad boys 5 stars on the internet, and you can too by getting yourself a pair. I wear Shady Rays because first off, they make me look good. Secondly, if I order them and if I lose them, because I lose everything, including games, they'll just replace them. Every single pair comes with a lost or stolen protection, which is really, really good because I spend a lot of time outdoors, and I know so many of our listeners and viewers do as well. And if you don't like your shades for some reason, you can exchange it for a new pair for free, and I know you're going to find something that you like because they have more than, I want to get this number right, more than 200. Oh, more than one. They have hundreds. Sorry. They probably have more than 200. I don't know. But the only way to find out, the best way to find out, is by going to shadyrays.com, because exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Shadyrays.com. Use code DLLS and save yourself 35% off polarized sunglasses.
It's time to preview the Eastern Conference of the 2024-25 NBA season. As we do, we bring in our Mavericks beat writer and reporter at an undisclosed location, our guy Tim Cato here on DLLS Mavs. Tim, what's going on?
There he is.
We became a Bucks show in my absence.
How do we spell that? What's our 4 letters?
Oh, BCKS.
MLK.
Oh.
Nope.
MLWK.
I think Bobby got it.
BCKS.
Yeah,
the Packers are just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, deal with that, Green Bay.
And there's other teams there, too.
Let's get to our talk.
Tim Cato, good to see you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, y'all say hello to each other. Y'all good? Y'all good? Y'all
Hello, friends. Yes, I'm just a little bit sick.
Yeah, you don't sound too good. You don't sound too good, young man.
I'm okay. I promise. I'm on the mend. I'm getting better. In fact, I felt great yesterday. It was like the eye of the sickness. And if we had a show yesterday, I would have been there in studio feeling great. I'd gone to the doctor on Monday, and then here, last night I just ended up sleeping like 12 hours. So maybe one more of those, and I'll be all good for.
Are you questionable for tomorrow?
I would say I'm probable.
Okay.
And you know what probable means in the NBA? It means you're going. It means you're playing.
All right. We got a guarantee.
Yeah, that means you're going to be good to go for tomorrow. So let's jump into it. We're going to preview the Western Conference coming up in our next segment, but let's talk a little bit about the East and Bobby's favorite team, the Milwaukee Bucks, since we've done enough of that already so far. Tanner, if you can you throw up the Eastern Conference standings from last year and how these teams finished up during the regular season? Of course, the Boston Celtics running away with the East last year, winning the East by 14 games en route to winning 64 games. And, of course, winning the NBA championship over your Dallas Mavericks in 5 games. One of the more historic seasons that we've seen in NBA history. Think about their point differential, plus 11.4 in terms of point differential.
Yeah, but they got to play the Pistons, Wizards, Hornets, Raptors, Nets, and Hawks and Bulls. That's like half their games.
Yeah, the play-in teams included the Sixers, the Heat, the Bulls, and the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks finishing 10 games under 500 were able to qualify for the play-in. But last year, in order, it was the Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, Cavaliers, Magic, and the Indiana Pacers that were the top 6 teams in the East. We'll see how that shakes out this year. So as we look at the East and how they finished out last year with Boston winning the NBA championship, where do you see these teams, whether it be in Orlando or a Cleveland or in Indiana, who could potentially challenge the Boston Celtics if it's not going to be the New York Knicks after what happened last night?
I think Boston is so much better than everybody else, probably in the NBA, but certainly in the East.
Is the gap that big?
I think the gap is really, really big. Now, I think by March or April, Celtics won't be beating the Knicks by 30. That's a lot of guys' first game together. I think the Knicks probably the second best team in the East. I want to let Tim and Mark share their opinions before I start firing off my takes, because I got some edgelord opinions, not just about the Bucks, but about some other teams too.
Okay.
I'm high on Cleveland this year. I think they could finish second.
Second? Wow.
Honestly.
Okay.
That's such a trendy pick, which I disagree with, but continue.
Fight already.
I like Milwaukee, but I don't love them. I think they made good moves around the edges. I still think this is a really good team. I'm a little bit higher on Milwaukee than consensus.
Why do you like Cleveland, Tim?
Higher. What?
Why do you like Cleveland?
I just think that this is a team that is talented and needed a change of scenery and needed a new head coach and has the talent that can finally come together. Like, I think this is a team built to be very good in the regular season. And yes, I don't buy the fit concerns as long as Mobley keeps improving. And I think he will. And I think Donovan Mitchell is very underrated. And I think, Garland's season was just such a wash. I mean, he had literally had his jaw wired shut for parts of last season. I think this is a better team than what they were even last season. I'm not saying they're a contender, but I'm just a little bit higher on them than consensus. And I'm a little bit lower on the Knicks than a consensus. Again, these are all like based off what I'm hearing. Like a lot of people think they're going to have the second best, third best. I think they'll be a top 4 team, but what if they're just fourth? I'm a little bit curious about what these moves meant for New York when you're thinking long picture in terms of closing your window, or at least not closing your window, but deciding this is your window and these are the players that you have to, really make something happen within.
In early September, I was trying to talk myself into the idea that, the Celtics are vulnerable. No Porzingis till maybe January 1st. The Knicks have really improved their team. This was even before trading for Towns. Philly, obviously, the Sixers had a dream summer. Everything that was on Philly's wish list, they got done. Paul George, re-signing Maxey, a slew of great bargain contracts. Mm-hmm. They even got the city of Philly to agree to a new arena deal so they could squelch all that "we're moving to New Jersey" talk. Philly had a dream summer. But then as time sinks in, and I have to say, I like the Knicks. I actually like the Knicks less since the Towns trade. I just have my questions about it because
me too.
I just defensively, I'm not sure he's going to deliver. Yes, he's a top shelf center, and they didn't have a top flight center, but like he doesn't play. He's not a defensive center in the mold that Tom Thibodeau would like. So
they have a center on their team, but he might not play.
Trivia time, since you guys know I love my history. You mentioned it. 14. Boston won the East by 14 games last season. Do you know the last time we saw a difference like that in any conference in the NBA? Hint.
It was in like the 70s, right?
No one else in this room was born except me. Yes, it was the 70s.
The 70s?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would it have been?
1975-76. Golden State, coming off a championship, finished 16 games ahead of Phoenix in what was a 17-team league at that point in the West.
But they did not win the conference.
I had seen this.
Yeah,
I had seen the stat as well,
yes,
and it bounces out.
out.
Also, I like the Knicks a little bit less ever since the Bridges trade. I just think 5 first-round picks was too much for a player.
I like the Knicks less after watching Mikal shoot the ball.
Yeah, that was not great to watch.
We got to stop doing bits with our jumpers, guys. Like, leave that to us.
But if it was Jason Tatum's bid, I'm down for that bid.
But on the flip side, Tatum 14 for 18 last night after his shot has been really dissected for 2-3 months straight.
Yeah,
you got to give Tatum some serious props, like how he could even just between the Olympics and the start of the season, there was not a lot of time, and he's clearly made some changes and some improvements. Tim Legler and I did a long discussion about this last week on the All NBA show because, of course, Legs is a shooting savant, so just he went real in depth on what he's seeing, and like for Tatum to make that kind of improvement that quick is hat tip.
Any dark horses when it comes to the East? We know the prohibitive favorites when it comes to Boston, New York. I kind of think Philadelphia might be cooked already.
I think, look, we mock the East still generates Eastern Conference jabs because the bottom of it is going to be so bad. But I would say 1 through 8, the East is very strong this season. I mean, Miami is almost universally penciled in at number 8. And like, you could talk to me all you want about Jimmy Butler's uncertain future and they didn't make any moves. I don't want to hear it. Like, they have
Spo. Still the coach there. Yes.
They have Spo. I do not want to play the Heat if I'm an Eastern Conference team. I do not want to play them in the playoffs. And Butler didn't play in the first round against Boston because Kelly Oubre fell on him and mangled his knee. He was poised to play in the playoffs. So, like, Miami would still concern me, but the Orlandos and the Indianas, they're dangerous teams. I mean, Indiana went to the conference finals. They play a style nobody wants to see because they play so fast. I think Orlando, they could flirt with 50 wins. I mean,
they're terrific defensively.
And even Atlanta has made some moves to make themselves more interesting. So I think 1-8, 1-9, if we really want to stretch it and throw Atlanta in there. The East is pretty dang good.
I think one of Indiana or Orlando, if not both, are going to finish top 4 in the East. How about that? Is that a hot take?
I like Orlando a lot.
It's funny because Tim talked about Cleveland, and that is not a minority opinion. There are a lot of people around the league who are saying Kenny Atkins in there. Cleveland's going to do like.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think those 4 guys fit together. I think they play better when one or 2 are out.
Yeah.
And is this going to be the season that they gave Evan Mobley all that money in the offseason? Is this the season Jarrett Allen finally gets traded? Very crucially, the extension they did with Jarrett Allen, unlike Lauri Markkanen's extension, Jarrett Allen is eligible to be moved in the last few days before the trade deadline on February 6th. Lauri Markkanen is not. Lauri Markkanen waited until August 7th to do his extension in Utah, so he cannot be traded all season long. But like I said, Jarrett Allen, the last 72 hours of the trade deadline, I promise you we're going to be talking about Jarrett Allen.
Well, there's a team in the West that could really use a big man, and Cleveland could really use a wing, and maybe they should talk about a Jarrett Allen trade.
I assume,
the Pelicans could really use a 5.
Yeah, they could really use a big man.
I'm sounding the alarm about the Milwaukee Bucks, guys. Charlie, we need to have a conversation.
You hear that?
We need to have a conversation. Now, I'm a Giannis truther. Giannis is if not Luka, Giannis is the best player in the NBA.
Still top 5 player in the league. Yes.
Giannis is the best player in the NBA, I think.
Nikola Jokic might have something to say about that.
Maybe,
I feel you.
but I'm going Giannis, baby. I am super worried about Chris Middleton. Super worried about Brook Lopez.
Giannis over Jokic.
I'm a little worried about Dame getting a little older, and if teams really can defend a little more physically, I think that hurts Dame because he just pulls a lot of tricks with getting fouled on 3-point shots and stuff. All that garbage has got to go. I'm really worried about their depth. I'm worried about their ability to defend. I'm just worried about the Bucks. I'm really, really worried about the Bucks. That said, half of their schedule is a bye week, so they're still going to win probably 50 games. Yeah. I think they're still going to finish top 6, but I think Indiana and Orlando are better than the Bucks. That's like maybe I don't actually believe that, but I think that they're better.
I cannot go there, despite my dismay.
Indiana had their number last year.
Despite my dismay over the release of Pasisnich. I am.
Mark's going to lament that all year long.
No, I said it wrong. Pasisnich.
Yes. Chris Middleton out indefinitely to start the season.
Yeah, but they signed Trent on a minimum.
That is a good deal for them.
Mm-hmm.
They got Taurean Prince. They got DeLon Wright. So, I mean, I think they fortified their bench. But, yeah, there's no.
Those are guys.
Look. I mean, Giannis.
He's like, those are guys.
Giannis' health.
Those are names.
Middleton's health. Dame Lillard's health. I mean.
It's just they're very old, and the Mavs are old too, and age concerns.
I mean, and the Mavs,
but the Bucks are very old.
Yeah.
Back to Tim Cato though. Well, I guess I've disputed his Cleveland take enough.
Tim, defend yourself. Defend yourself before we move on to the West,
because you got your read coming up, so you might get yourself.
Tim's
ready.
doing a read.
He is.
I am doing a read. I don't know. I don't feel any need to defend myself. I'm just going to say that the Chicago Bulls are going to be a little bit better than people think if Lonzo's healthy.
I'm so glad you brought the Bulls up. Because the Bulls, to me, are so fascinating. Seriously, when you think about what's going on there. Their pick is top 10 protected. If it falls out of the top 10, it goes to San Antonio as part of the DeMar DeRozan trade from 2021.
Wow.
The Bucks cannot lose this pick, okay? They just got nothing in terms of draft compensation in the Caruso for Josh Giddey trade.
Bulls,
The Bulls have to keep this 2025 draft is loaded. Not just Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey's in there, Dylan Harper's in there, and I covered Ron Harper so long, and now his son is.
His son's about to be in the league.
I mean, it's just like he's already got one son in the league. But anyway, the 2025 draft is loaded. Chicago cannot lose this pick. If you finish lower than 6th in the East or 6th in the lottery, you are in the worst case scenario, your pick can drop 4. You could fall out. So it's true what Tim is saying. If you look at the Bulls, how are the Bulls going to tank is my question here. Zach LaVine's coming back. They still have Vucevic. They've got Lonzo Ball coming back. They've added Josh Giddey. Taylor Horton-Tucker had a good preseason. Kobe White had an incredible
He was
season
really
last
good
year.
last year.
They have so many competent vets. I cannot wait to see how are the Bulls going to tank with that team in the East. It is not going to be easy. They're going to have to start trading some of these guys.
The Bulls have a big man, and there's a team in the West that could really use a big man.
Here you go on the
Maybe they should
Pelicans
talk.
agenda again. Here we go with that.
Maybe the
What is our 4 letters for New Orleans?
Come on, Bobby. Come.
NRLN.
Yeah. So
okay.
you are doing.
Sounds
a lot
like
of
we're doing
Pelts
like
talk.
TV.
He's doing a lot of
call
heavy lifting
signs
with these names today. What was that?
or radio call signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Y'all cooked enough on the East? Y'all good on the East?
Yeah, let's go to the real division. Let's move up to varsity.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
what?
So I'm not trying to second guess too much, but like we're doing West in the same segment. Like there's no breaks in the.
Oh,
No,
no,
we're
we're taking
gonna
a break.
take a break. You want to hear this ad
This,
read?
this
that's
show
in
is going long. There's no saving
That's-
this
yeah,
show.
that's what
I'm
saying,
We're,
is like-
we're zooming here.
Okay.
Yeah, we're cooking
Yeah.
today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Tanner's got other work to do today. Yeah, you're right. Coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast, you're going to hear Tier do a read. But after that, we're going to talk about the Western Conference and what's going to be coming up for the West this year. And the Mavericks going to get back to the NBA Finals. All that and more coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
But first, we got to talk about game time because we love game time and we love games. We love time. Right now, I am not in a game time ticket buying mode, but I will be by tomorrow. And game time has a new feature. If I wasn't a media member going to the Mavericks season opener with a credential, they have this new feature that I'd be checking out called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. It filters out all of the fluff that shows you, and it shows you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You know, it's the curation. You know, it makes it easier to save on sports, on concerts. They've got comedy, they've got theater. You know, it doesn't just have to be basketball. I know basketball is the most important event that you can attend, but it doesn't just have to be that. You can even get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy it, so you know exactly what you're going to be looking at on the court as Dallas beats San Antonio tomorrow at the American Airlines Center. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time?
Is
Shopping
that the
for
first letter
floors
Game
at a-
Time over lag?
Shopping for floors at a big box store can be awfully frustrating because you might be talking to someone that was working in plumbing yesterday and in roofing the day before, and they're just now in the floor division now. They don't really know what they're talking about. But Empire today, baby, flooring is all they do. They live and breathe flooring, so you can be confident that you're getting honest and upfront advice. They pride themselves in their convenient shop-at-home service with their virtual floor designer. Just take a picture of your floor. Boom. Now you know what this new flooring would look like in your kitchen or in your bathroom or in your living room or in your DLLS studios. And they service their own warranties as well. So if any issues do arise, just call Empire. You won't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number, chase someone all around town who's trying to lay some floor down and then a layout of your business. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for details.
It's time to preview the Western Conference as your Dallas Mavericks look to get back to the NBA Finals. They open up the season tomorrow when they take on Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. Pre-game show and post-game show all here on DLLS Mavs on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports here on YouTube. Tanner, if you could you throw up the Western Conference standings from a year ago and how things finished during the regular season? Of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets tied for the best record in the West at 57-25, but OKC had the tiebreaker, so they finished number 1 in the West. Minnesota finished in 3rd. The Clippers were a 4 seed. They will not be there by the time we get the seasons in this year. Mavericks finished as the 5th seed. The Suns were the 6th seed, and your playing teams were the Lakers, Pelicans, Bobby's favorite team in the West, the Sacramento Kings, and the Golden State Warriors. Those are your teams 1 through 10 a year ago. Of course, the Mavericks as a 5 seed getting to the NBA Finals, finishing 7 games behind the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. Mavericks using a 16-4 finish in their last 20 games to earn that number 5 seed, taking out the Clippers, the Thunder, and of course the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals en route to the finals last year. So as we handicap the Western Conference, we've got a special little graphic that Tanner has put together for us to show where we picked the Western Conference standings to be. Shout out to our guy, Bobby Carella, who said, hey, y'all get in here, figure out where y'all want 1 through 6 to be, and this is what we came up with. So we'll go from, that would be, I guess, from my right to left as far as who picked who to finish where in the West. Mark Stein, 1 through 6, sir, for you.
I'm just marveling at the beauty of the graphic.
It looks great. Looks great.
I mean, the graphic kind of just tells the whole story.
Tim Cato's cheesy smile. I love it. I absolutely love it.
There's really only like 1 point of disagreement here.
Yeah, it looks like Stein and Carella are in a dead heat.
Yeah, that was not a mistake. Like, we're just now. So
let me reset it real quick. So top 1 through 3 for all 4 of us. We have OKC, Dallas, and Minnesota. So all 4 of us have the Thunder, Mavericks, and Timberwolves as the top 3 teams in the West. Now, teams 4 through 6 is where we start to get in a little bit of a disagreement there.
Yeah.
Memphis at 6.
Oh, so you want me to cook on Memphis real quick?
You might as well, because you're outnumbered, buddy.
You are the outlier.
I'm a Memphis truth this year. Like, I feel like we're just not giving the whole John Morant experience the kind of credit it's going to be due this upcoming year. Zach Edey is a legitimate Rookie of the Year candidate, and when you look at their starting 5 with Jaren Jackson, Edey, John Morant, Desmond Bane, and Marcus Smart, you got one of the better starting 5s in the West in my mind. And I think Ja is going to come back with talk about a dark horse MVP candidate. I think John Morant is going to be a dark horse MVP candidate. One of our folks in the chat the other day had Taylor Jenkins as their Coach of the Year potential candidate to win Coach of the Year. But I like Memphis a lot. The question is, can they stay healthy? Injuries ravaged them a year ago. And we know, of course, John Morant was not only playable, 9 games, I think in total was last year. But I think Memphis has a chance to rebound quite well. And there's always a team or two that makes a surprise into the top 6. I think Memphis is that team. They're going to be well coached. They got a superstar like Town and John Morant. I think they're a team that is going to be you got to watch out for this year. So I got Memphis finishing.
Noah Holm disagrees with the rest of us who are all saying that the Warriors are going to be at 6. Look, I think the Warriors, the way it was put to me by a rival executive looking at their team, was deeper and cheaper. Like, they've lost Klay Thompson, which obviously means losing a piece of your soul, giving his contributions to 4 championships. But the way they've retooled, they have a very deep team. You've heard Steve Kerr talk about, like, he's told the media, anybody who wants to ask me about guys not playing, you got to give me your rotation because I can't play all these guys. I mean, that's how deep they are. So they are, I think, equipped to get through this season. And what Golden State is trying to do is Golden State is trying to stay a good mid-conference team, good mid-tier team, until they can make the big trade that they tried to make in the offseason and couldn't pull off. They went after Paul George. They went after Lauri Markkanen. They didn't successfully trade for either one, but this is
they went after Karl-Anthony Towns as well.
This is the Warriors. They are not going to stop. They are going to keep trying to bring in a younger second star, because this blows me away. Stephen Curry is going to be 37 in March. That's just insane.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Steph is carrying anything. I mean, I think Steph is going to average 30 a game because he's going to.
Is that really GM Ben? Who let GM Ben in the chat? No Lakers.
Ben forced his way into the chat. We'll get to the Lakers in the next segment because they were able to get a nice win last night against Minnesota on opening night for them.
The Warriors are so deep. I mean, they got Wiggins, they got Kuminga. They have Moses Moody just on the wing. They got Pods, who is a really, really good rookie. They got Buddy Hield and Anthony Melton, who don't totally replace Klay's shooting and like everything. But I mean, Buddy Hield has never seen a shot that he doesn't like.
That's for sure.
And if they can stay healthy, then I think they're going to just win a lot of games. I just think they're going to win a lot of games. And then, yeah, I'm kind of doing a little forecasting. I think they're definitely going to try and make a trade as soon as possible. So whether it's Cleveland that wants to shuffle the deck chairs or some other team, Star becomes unhappy, or the Bulls are like, how can we lose 5 games in a row real quick? I think the Warriors will happily come knocking. Tim, you had Phoenix 4th. I thought about putting Phoenix 4th. Stein and I and Kevin, you had Phoenix 5th as well,
I had
right?
them in 5th, yes.
So, Tim, you got to defend yourself now.
Phoenix, like Cleveland, is a trendy pick to do more conference damage than advertised.
They
So
got a
clearly,
point. They got a
clearly,
point
to bet on talent.
Tim Cato has clearly been swayed by the trendy picks leading into this new season.
I love trends. Until they're not a trend anymore, and then I despise them.
Yeah.
It's kind of my whole thing with trends. I just tend to bet on talent, and Phoenix still has that. And as much as I do not think that they're in a good situation as a franchise going forward, I do think that there is a lot of talent on this team, and I do think that, getting a couple point guards in here, Tyus Jones, and just calming forces, like players that can, make everything about this team make a little bit more sense to the extent that they're a regular season force. Not that they're contenders, because I just don't think that they're in a good situation there. I don't think that this is a contending core, and I don't really know how they salvage that. But I do think this is a really good regular season team that could easily be a top 4 seed or specifically the 4th seed in the Western Conference. I also saw a lot of chatter in the comments about the Houston Rockets. That was a team I considered for the 6th spot, and it's funny that nobody has brought up the Sacramento Kings, which is probably unfair to them. But the Kings are not trendy right now. You know who is? The Houston Rockets. Houston, the city, not trendy. The Rockets, everybody loves Rockets.
I told you guys
go up
what my
in the air.
Stratomatic computer simulation did. The Stratomatic computer simulation had Houston as the number 1 team in Texas, ahead of your Mavs and San Antonio.
Yeah,
Sounds
well,
like it needs an update.
I think
it's going to be a Stratomatic.
they're a bit away.
Stomp on it.
I still think they're a bit away, the Rockets. So like maybe one big move next summer, but they have so many pieces that if it just comes together, it wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't. Like Amin Thompson is gonna be a guy.
He's emerging, yeah.
He's gonna be a real
like
guy.
21.
Reed Shepard
I
is
don't
a
know.
real guy.
Tim
Kinda
Cato,
doing two
Tim
timelines
Cato
thing.
from HSTN. Check it in.
Yeah.
Look at you coming
See,
over.
that's a good one.
That's a good one there.
I think I'll defend Minnesota. I saw Ardell saying that I was wrong about Finch, and there are a lot of people saying after last night. I mean, the Wolves got.
Yeah, of course, we have to draw firm conclusions based on one game. That's
That's
right.
right.
Yeah,
Those are the rules.
Julius Randle, I think, didn't play in the preseason at all, right? Or played like
They
one
look
game.
bad. I mean,
And-
the Wolves were undeniably disappointing when Chris Finch comes out after the game, and one of the first things he says is, "The bell rang for the season, and we didn't answer it." I mean, that's,
Yeah, and there's
Yikes.
there's such a thing, maybe not as like a finals hangover, but like a deep playoff run hangover, bringing some new guys. They looked kind of like they were freezing out Randall in the 4th quarter. Ant was just chucking up all sorts of garbage down the stretch in
And I
that
don't
game.
know
Like
if
it
I
was
like
just a
Anthony
weird
Edwards taking
game.
a bunch of threes like that. I don't know if I like that.
I didn't like anything he was doing in the 4th quarter, but I'm still prepared to defend the Wolves all the way down to game number 82. All right, I ain't going anywhere. Super chat, Ardell. One thing I wanted to ask y'all too, because we were in such agreement about the top 6, is a dark horse team. So like, who's a team that, whether it's maybe Houston or Sacramento or someone else, the Lakers.
Okay, so I'll be the Laker guy then. I'll be the Laker guy.
Okay, all right.
They finally are doing the thing, and we'll talk about it more next segment too. But one of the things I noticed last night, they are playing through Anthony Davis. It looks like he is going to be the focal point of this offense. LeBron James in year 22, still a fantastic player, but if they're going to be successful and efficient offensively, it has to run through AD. Austin Reeves is a really good passer, and one of the things I liked about them last night, it looks like they're playing with a lot more pace too. They want to get more threes up. They want to play with more pace, and they killed the Wolves on the offensive glass. And I thought the style of play, maybe not as an impressive win as you may think, but I think the style of play is something that I could foresee them actually being consistent with down the road throughout the course of the year. And yeah, somebody had thrown in the chat too. Yeah, Charlie threw it in. Yeah, Anthony Davis is his pick for Defensive Player of the Year. He was a monster last night.
That was peak AD. Now, I actually came in here today thinking, like, how worried is Bobby going to be, because Tatum and AD have surged into the early lead in the MVP race, because we know the MVP chance start on day
right.
one. So it's like
I'd check out of the race.
Luka's now got he's got some work. He's got some catching up to do with AD and Tatum off to these flying starts.
I think if the Pelicans trade
That
for
was sarcasm. By the way.
I think if the Pelicans trade for a single NBA player that's over 6'8", just like a single guy, one single player that you can put C next to their name.
You're not buying Herb Jones at the 5?
I actually think
That'd be fun to watch,
that would have a
though.
little bit of juice, but
That would be fun, actually.
I'm
Yes.
buying
I think we're going to see it.
I'm buying a Herb Jones plus picks trade for a dang good center at some point. I think the Pelicans are going to have to make a move at some point. And when they do, I think they could win.
You really
lot of
you
games.
really want to turn Pels fans against you if you even suggest
I love Herb Jones.
trading
I
Herb
love
Jones.
Herb Jones, but like no one's trading for CJ McCollum, dude. Like
No,
it's over.
not. Yeah.
You know, you can't trade DeJounte. You're probably, I don't know if anyone would trade for Zion. If you want to get better, you got to trade Herb Jones. Trey Murphy is really good.
They couldn't move on from Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, like Brandon Ingram is on their team for some reason.
Yeah.
Like they got some weird stuff happening, and they need just literally one guy that is taller than 6'8", and if they can do that, then I like their chances.
Tim Cato, we turn
I was
to
going
you.
to say the Pelicans too, but I think I kind of out of. I was going to say the Pelicans. I can just see the path for them potentially working, which would include a trade, probably that trade. Sorry, Pelicans fans. Since nobody else has brought them up, and because it is very trendy of me, San Antonio.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
super trendy.
Yeah, that's a.
I mean,
that's
I
a dark
can't wait
horse
to
team.
see them tomorrow night. Like they are seeing what Chris Paul has left in the tank at 39, how much he's going to organize them. They're going to be
Over
they're
under
gonna be
4.5 Wembanyama dunks.
Over.
tomorrow night.
Under.
Over.
I'll go under. Vassell being out actually hurts them. It doesn't really affect Wembanyama's dunks.
Yeah, I'm going
but Vassell
under as
being
well.
out does hurt them a little bit out of the gate.
I'm going under as well, but like it's going to be 4.4 dunks. So it'll be just under. I don't know how he will dunk. One of his dunks will count as 1.4 dunks. It will
And
be
the,
that.
the longer this has gone on, I know Tim Cato very vehemently. The last time I think all four of us were together, Tim Cato very vehemently said he doesn't care one whit about the schedule. But I don't know. The longer it's gone on, I love that the Mavs and Spurs are Thursday. Like that all these other teams are playing and we kind of get to settle in. And then Thursday night, I don't know. Just the slow buildup has won me over.
One last thing. I see a lot of comments saying that Ingram is the guy that they would trade, or obviously just trade Brandon Ingram, hang on to Herb Jones. You need a team that will trade for that guy. The Pelicans tried that this summer, and it didn't work.
Nobody took him. Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to happen, man. I just don't know if that's going to happen. In order to you got to trade a player that somebody wants.
All right, Ben. We'll do that. We'll answer Ben's super chat next segment because you're doing a lot.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna do it next segment.
Tony Romo was on the Mavs. Like
Coming
he was
up
on the
next
Mavs.
year on DLLS
Tony
Mavs.
Romo was a Mavs. His name was on
We'll
the court.
go around the association opening night. What is happening here?
Whoa.
Those
I don't know.
What is going on here?
I
What
do not
was
know.
that?
Coming
I put
up
up-
next year, we will celebrate
not.
whatever it
How
is.
did
Tim
that
Cato,
happen?
more balloons. There they are. We'll talk about around the association next year on DLLS Mavs. My goodness.
But real quick, shout out to our newest diehard signups. Now, this is all just since yesterday, folks. Jenny, Bryn, Sean, Barbara, Kenneth, Alistair, Hesh, Christine, Eddie, Gregory, Alex, Chris, Spencer, Blake, Bob, Roger, Aaron, Damian, Daniel, and Charlie. Shout out to all of you for joining the mighty ranks of the DLL.
Yep, the DLLS diehards.
And you can do that by going to alldlls.com. You can become a diehard today. Hey, we just launched a new deal network-wide to sign up and become a diehard. And whenever you do that, you can join the diehard-only Discord. You get access to the entire website, including all paywalled content. You get a free shirt when you sign up. You get a discount on merch. You get a discount on live events.
Introductory offer is what I was told.
It's an introductory offer. Yes. Did I use the wrong terminology
No,
already?
I'm just trying to help.
Okay, because I'm like,
Now you want to help on
I
a read?
cannot
All
get.
right.
I
Mark.
like
All right.
helping on all the reads.
All right.
It's when I have to actually do them.
Jeez, I cannot.
Like,
get
see, I say
fired on
quiet
day one
during
of it.
Empire flooring because, like, you can't even improve on that.
But yeah, you should do that whenever. It's an introductory offer for a limited time. So go ahead and do that. Again, it's a network-wide thing, man. All city to the moon. All city to the freaking moon.
Let's go.
How about the All NBA podcast is back? The All NFL
Yes.
huddle is just making fun of the Cowboys all the time.
Hey.
But we have our own thing going on here at DLLS with Mavs, Stars, Rangers, and Cowboys coverage. We're adding Other teams to the mix here. We got Dallas
Stars,
Wings.
you said?
Is that? Can you explain the shirt now?
Shout out. Ben Selheim's the one who noticed my shirt. Not an accident.
This is not a good way to promote what we're trying to talk about right now, Mark. You're not doing
I think it's a great way because if you want to commiserate after the Stars lose a tough one to the Buffalo Sabres of all teams, you can go to the Just Positive Vibes channel on the Discord and we'll get you cheered up real quick.
That was skillfully done. I ruined half your read, but you just
No, you helped me a lot. I was running out of juice.
You turned that thing to glory right there.
AllDLLS.com/diehard. Become a diehard member today. Show off your physical diehard card. Tag us on social media as well. We'll shout you out there for becoming a diehard member. As we finish up our show mercifully today here.
Mercifully?
No, I'm just joking. We've had a great time today. Maybe not up until this super chat comes in from Ben. Shout out to GM Ben Gesundheit. There.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I promise you I'm not sick. It's just a sinus thing. It happens every time
This
it
is the
gets
part
cold.
where we move this.
Every time. I promise. I called it. I told Kevin we were looking at the forecast a week and a half ago, and
You
I was
did.
like, oh, I'm going to get sick next week. It happens every year.
Yeah.
Normally, it happens the first week of October. This year, it happened the third week of October, but you know what that means. As soon as I get sick, and as soon as I recover from my sinus crumbling, it means it's officially basketball season.
It's basketball.
We're here.
season.
We did it. Cue
We're here.
Eminence Front. Cue the Who. But don't. That's copyright. Don't do that,
Yeah,
Tanner.
please don't do. What are you messing up today? Is Bronny the worst player in NBA history? And go. LeBron James and Bronny James made history last night, becoming the first father-son duo in NBA history to share the court together. The 39-year-old LeBron James in year 22, the 20-year-old Bronny James shared the court for about 2.5 minutes late in the first half in the Lakers win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Bronny was, okay. He didn't mess anything up. He missed a three-pointer that he actually had a chance to knock down a three-pointer off an assist from his daddy, but he missed a shot on the right wing. But other than that, I thought he didn't mess up anything. So, good to see a moment, though. King Griffey Jr. and
Ben Selheim, you are correct. You are streets ahead of GM Ben. We'll tell you that much for sure.
GM Ben, they drafted Bronny to have the photo op moment. Look, King Griffey Jr. and Senior were in the house last night. No matter how you may feel about how Bronny got to the Los Angeles Lakers, I know there are plenty of thoughts on that. It is very rare to see a moment that we saw last night in professional sports where a father and a son share the same court, baseball field, hockey rink, whatever, at the same time. But the bigger story
Is Tim still on the show?
no, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh, bye, Tim.
He dropped off. Bye, Tim.
He's cleaning up the balloons.
That's right. He's going to go pick up his celebration balloons. The bigger story, though, the Lakers win last night in the second night of the NBA's opening night doubleheader. We'll get to the Boston massacre that happened in Boston in a little bit. But the Lakers win last night 110-103 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Davis, monster night. 36 points, 16 rebounds, 3 blocks on the night for the Lakers. Anthony Edwards, 27 points and 6 rebounds in the losing effort. JJ Redick getting his first win as an NBA head coach. By the way, did you see the photo of him and his entire Lakers staff and what they were wearing last night?
I did not.
They were all wearing Panda Dunks in solidarity together last night. So
What is that?
the shoes that I have on my foot. You see the shoes I got on my foot right there? They were all wearing
Oh,
those.
in solidarity of
Yes.
for what?
Just to look cool together, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if that's
In
like a
solidarity
statement.
with Kevin Gray.
I guess so. But yeah. So the Lakers get the win last night in open night. Thoughts on what you saw from the Lakers over the Timberwolves? AD was a story for you?
Both winners last night were just incredibly impressive. I mean, Minnesota, how flat they were really disappointed me and shocked me because, let's not forget in the Wolves' history, they made the Western Conference Finals in 2004. They did not win another playoff series until last year. It was 20 years between winning rounds in the playoffs.
That's tough.
So they began a season. They make this massive trade. I thought Minnesota, and first of all, they're playing on opening night. This is the Anthony Edwards effect.
Yeah.
The Wolves are playing the West game on ring night. The Wolves have forced their way onto the Christmas schedule ahead of Charlie Saturday's Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis and the Bucks are not on the Christmas schedule. The Wolves are. Everybody, it's Ant. We all want Ant. I thought the Wolves were going to come out really aggressive, and the Lakers it was both the Celtics and the Lakers delivered true statement performances, as loud a statement as you can make in game 1 of 82. Both teams made it. And I just, the Lakers look, they've gone to a first-year coach, but I think JJ Redick is very confident in what he can get done there. And he is already putting his imprint on that team. Like you said, the way they're playing, but like all Lakers success revolves around LeBron and AD being top 10 players or thereabouts, and Anthony Davis was just a two-way colossus last night.
Yeah, really, like the big question with the Lakers over the last forever is just when LeBron and AD are healthy, they're really good.
Yeah.
And when one of them is out, they're just not,
But that's what's so scary about last year's. They both played 70-plus games.
Yeah, and they were struggling.
They still
yeah.
only finished.
And they didn't make any changes to their team. Now,
they're right. The team that went to the West Finals made changes. The team that was in the play-in was like, no, we're good.
Right, but I mean, I guess the change that they made is the coach. And so
Yeah.
if they really are going to play faster, if they are going to play a little more
Mark W. does. Sorry, Mark W. I lapsed into some Brits. I spent a lot of time in England this summer, so I lapsed in my streets ahead comment. I lapsed into some Brit speak there. That's my
Oh, you're talking about some apples and pears?
All right, Bobby.
Don't do the accent.
All right.
I'll try to do.
Don't.
No,
do
you
it.
tried to get it. It didn't work.
I forgot
second
we
time
are
either.
live on the
Nope,
internet.
You should have left it
It's
where it was the first time.
That can be clipped and used against you.
Yeah.
Now, so do not do the accent.
Good. There you go, Tanner. There you
Yeah,
go.
I was impressed by AD. He's an unbelievable basketball player.
I mean, when he's
think
playing at both ends like that.
I said it
just
the other
think,
day. Folks
man,
were laughing at me in the chat when I was like, "Hey, when AD is at that level, he's a top 10 player in the league."
I just don't want AD to have to do heavy.
Why would anyone dispute that?
I
mean, it's
asked the chat because they was disputing what I had to say about that. But
It's just a lot of heavy lifting for 82 games, man. I don't want him to be taking all. He shot 15 free throws or 16 free throws. Like that's a lot for a guy that has injury history, and he's 32, 31. How old is he, Mark?
AD.
Yeah, he came out in 2012, and he was 19, so he must be 31, 32.
Anthony Davis is 31.
Yeah,
He'll be 32 in March.
and I don't know, and there's a lot of mileage. But at any rate, the Wolves, one game, but like I guess the thing to track is throughout the playoffs, the Wolves starting five was so good, and Naz Reid off the bench was so good. Like that was their team last season, right? But in the conference finals, they flamed out against the Mavs, and their offense really fizzled out late in games because they just didn't have any depth. Conley was banged up. Nobody off the bench could make a jump shot to save their life outside of Naz Reid. So the Wolves went and got Dante DiVincenzo, and they went in the draft. They traded into the top 10. They traded a ton of stuff to get Rob Dillingham. He didn't play.
No, he didn't.
They had like a 7-8 man rotation last night. So, and that's with Jaden McDaniels in foul trouble.
That's
Like,
right.
He was in foul trouble the whole game. So, tracking over the course of 82 games, I think you're going to see them expand the rotation. But I guess I was surprised that they had such a tight rotation last night.
From Super Chat Ardell, is Stein making salient basketball points? I can't hear him. All I can see is that trash Sabres t-shirt. Go Stars. Shots fired at our national.
Did the Stars play in
NBA.
Buffalo last night?
Oh,
And lose
Oh, no.
and lose 4-2
Okay.
and drop to their second
All
loss
right.
season? Am I going to be able to skate past Craig Ludwig in the hallway and without incident?
You know, the
might get a
most recent
forecheck.
piece of content from Luds on our YouTube channel is tips for fighting. So
you might well go take a look at that before you
Yeah.
see Lutz
I
today.
kind of imagined today that it would be. Did you guys see Slapshot, the greatest sports movie of all
I've
time?
seen it.
So I kind of figured like when I passed him in the hallway today, we would be eyeing each other like when the two guys when they're skating in the pregame warm up and they end up brawling before the puck is dropped.
Get ready.
I do not want to. I don't like my chances in that scrap.
If you're watching live, I would recommend at the end of this show clicking over to the Stars stream.
Yeah, please
because
do that.
Mark will have to walk past the stage in order to get out of the office.
Real quick before we get out of here, Boston crushed the Knicks last night as they bombed away and tied an NBA record with 29 made threes
It's a lot.
on 61 attempts.
They're a problem.
As Boston was able to absolutely annihilate the New York Knicks on opening night. That final score 132-109. Jason Tatum went smooth off for 37 points, had 10 assists as well. Boston picking up where they left off after winning 64 games in an NBA championship made New York look rather ordinary last night thanks to their bombing away from the three-point line, did Boston.
They're really good. I mean, I don't really know what to say. They were one of the best teams of all time last season, and they did not get worse. Just playing without KP, I mean, they might not go 82-0 or anything, but
They have the best
It does
starting five in the
it does
league.
not surprise
Yeah.
me at all to see them make a zillion threes because they just have all their guys shoot 40%. Like this is what they do.
Yeah, and they looked every bit like the NBA champions that they were. Miles McBride had 22 points.
I think we need to go let Tanner though produce his other
Yeah,
show.
we gotta
Yeah.
go.
Tanner's starting to sweat over there.
Tomorrow, DLLS Mavs pregame show. It is the opener for the season as the Mavericks take on the San Antonio Spurs. Pregame show will be 45 minutes before tip-off. We will have our postgame show about 10-15 minutes after the final buzzer as the Mavericks take on San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic, all the superstars, Klay Thompson's home debut, all of it you can follow right here on DLLS Mavs. The four of us will be all over it for you. Make sure you follow us here on YouTube and on DLLS Mavs on X or Twitter or whatever the hell we call it these days. That'll do it for us, though, for our show today. For our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, our National and Mavericks NBA insider, Mark Stein, Mavericks analyst, Bobby Carell, and all his hot takes. I'm Kevin Gray. We're DLLS
Hot
Mavs.
takes.
Sabres
That's right.
4, Stars 2.
Relax,
All right,
Mark.
get it.
We'll
Mute-
talk to you
mute his
tomorrow
mic.
here on DLLS Mavs. Y'all be good.
We all silly like the mayor.